Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft to Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 24. So in last episode, we basically just went over how we're going to be running their series. We also simulated the first 9 games of the season because we had to get up to the point where we could start scouting. And we are 0-9 and off to a terrible start, and I don't think this team is going to win a single game this season. Just based on the fact that if we go here to our standings, you can see through those 9 games, we've only scored 3 runs, so we're averaging like less than a run a game, and we've allowed 154 runs already as well. So that means I think by the end of the season, we will probably allow over 1,000 runs and only have like 30-something runs scored, or maybe 40 at most. So our team is going to be dreadful this entire season, but it should be exciting to see how we end up building this team up from this bottom stage that we currently are in, because obviously, since this is a Draft to Glory franchise mode, we're going to be building up via the normal draft, and we're also going to be building up through the Rule 5 draft, and hopefully putting together a good team within, I would say it's going to take us maybe around 10 plus seasons at this stage, but who knows exactly how long it's going to take us before we actually have a respectable roster, because we have to basically build up every single position. But anyways, before we get into starting to simulate and doing some more scouting stuff, because that's what we're going to do in this episode, is just simulate and scout out some stuff up until the draft, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about the first episode. So the first 3 comments are from Dylan Bros. The first one says, "Don't think the draft will produce enough Asians or quality Asians, just my take. We can wait a year or 2 and go from there." And I think the draft will, because we are going to probably be doing what I was saying and drafting Americans that are also with like Asian names. So for instance, like this Parker Iwamura guy, he's actually from Indiana, but we probably could draft him just because of the fact that he's actually got like a Japanese last name. So I think that's how we're going to make this a little bit easier for us, is we can draft from the States, but they have to be kind of like, as of like, they have to be from Asian descent in a sense, like their parents have to be from an Asian country or something like that. So I think there should be enough quality Asians for us to generate a team. It might just take a long time to do it, but I'm willing to at least put it to the test and see if it's doable, because obviously if it's doable, then maybe in future years of MLB or whatever, we could end up doing other modes where we focus solely on like specific regions in the United States or another international place like down in South America or Mexico, that type of thing. So it could be kind of cool if we end up doing stuff like that. Also, Dylan says even pick up players at least 1 to 2 via the Rule 5 for the first few years too. And yeah, we're going to be picking players probably almost every year in the Rule 5 draft, unless there's somebody that doesn't really make sense. But if we can't find any Japanese or like Asian descent players, obviously that's going to make it tougher. But obviously if we could add some more players to our team via the Rule 5, that will definitely help us build up this core a little bit faster than it would if we were just doing the amateur draft. And lastly, Dylan says, last comment, haha, also super pumped for the awards page to check when players retire or move on. And yeah, I'm really excited about that this year too, because obviously last year they didn't have this award tab, but now we'll be able to, I guess when they win awards, it shows it. Yeah, they probably just don't show it right now, but once you actually win an award, there'll actually be a tab for awards for that player, because if we go to, say, Mike Trout here, yeah, see he has an award tab, so we're going to be able to actually take a look and see what our players end up winning in their careers at that point. So that's a lot nicer, because obviously I feel like it's really tough to actually track all the awards yourself, especially with all like the Golden Gloves and stuff like that, Silver Slugger awards. The next comment is from Flame Husky, who says, calling a Japanese team the Tropic Turtles when samurais and all cool kinds of demons exist is probably the most snipe thing ever. Looking forward to this series regardless. And yeah, I'd like to name my teams pretty unique names, things that people wouldn't think of. In Tropic Turtles, there's not even a thing called a Tropic Turtle. I just picture it more like a sea turtle. And also, for play-by-plays in this game, they actually do have tropics, and they also have turtles. So I went with turtles for our team, but it's kind of neat that both those are kind of, I think they might be like AA or AAA related teams. I don't know exactly if there's a team called the Tropics or a team called the Turtles, but kind of just combine the two of them, it seems like. The next comment is from Aguero, who says, I think you should discover talent. I've found some crazy players doing that in the past. I don't remember if you could search by a specific country, but if so, that's perfect. And you can't do by specific country, but we are going to be doing a discovery in international regions, so that's going to help us discover a lot of new prospects and we are also going to have 2 other scouts basically doing individual players and stuff like that. So I kind of have a system in mind on what we want to try for this first year in terms of scouting. Obviously, it's going to be a work in progress though, and if it doesn't work well for our team, we could obviously try and change up our scouting method for next season and whatnot, because we're going to have a lot of early picks for all these early on seasons. So obviously we want to try and build up as best as possible, especially if we have a first overall pick. The next comment is from Trailer Park Boys, who says you should Google the most common Japanese names and most common syllables next to each other to see if they're Japanese. And I did look up a couple of them. I think there was like Yamamoto is a very common one. There's like Saito and stuff like that. So I think we should be able to find a decent amount of them, even if they're American players. They could be second generation American, like maybe their parents moved over to the United States and that's why they have that last name. So I think it'll make it a little bit easier for us building up this roster. And the last and final comment is from Ezra Hamburg, who says, so excited for the series. I'm honestly kind of hoping that this team goes at 0-162 just for the hell of it. Also, it's a good thing you didn't put this team in Iowa like I suggested, because if you made that challenge to only draft from Iowa, you'd be more than likely only have 5 players at most. Any chance we could get a Road to the Show series again? Also love Road to the Show, so it would be fun to watch you play through it again. And if you guys are a channel member or you're thinking about becoming a channel member, I did start a Road to the Show series on there. And it's with my Discord emoji, Dave Bluzinski. So if you want to check that out, you can. But obviously, you don't feel obligated to. So I am doing also a Road to the Show series, but I would do one obviously for you guys normally on this channel, but I don't really have the upload time because I'm uploading like already 7 days a week. So, but anyways, I think it is finally time to get our stuff set up and ready to start scouting out some prospects, which is exciting. That's what this entire episode is going to be. We're probably going to simulate up to like maybe a week before the draft or a couple days before the draft. And we're basically just going to do our scouting due diligence and kind of figure out who we want to draft in this upcoming year. Because obviously it's going to be not that much prospects that we could potentially draft. So, because we don't have the best, well, we do have a good scouting pool. It's just I don't know how good this draft class is going to be, considering we're kind of narrowing it down quite a bit on what we actually want to do. So I did write down exactly where I want each scout. So basically my plan is to take this Damian Kreisa guy, and we're going to basically put him on Discovery, and he's going to be discovering each position for 3 weeks at a time because there's only 4 positions. So that's only going to eat up 12 of the 14 weeks. The other 2 weeks, he gets scout individual players once we get to that point. So probably pitchers because he has really good pitching related scouting. And then we have Dave Heller, who is likely going to be just scouting individual like pitchers the entire time. So we're going to have to pick different pitchers throughout the course of the 14 weeks. And then Eldridge is going to be doing positional players individually every week. So basically, we have these 2 guys doing individual stuff. The other guy's going to be doing discovery on each position for 3 weeks. And then we're going to switch him to individual players for the final 2 weeks of the scouting pool. So I think that should be exciting. And I think it should work well because that way we have this one guy who's really good at discovery, finding ourselves a bunch of prospects. These 2 are doing the hard work at discovering each individual player and seeing if they're good enough for our team. And then this guy eventually will come in and help out wherever he can. So let's go discovering new prospects for Damian Kreisa, and we're going to assign him to start off with pitchers for international. And obviously, after those first 3 weeks of scouting, he's going to move to catcher. After those 3 weeks, he's going to move to infield, and then he's going to move to outfield. So that's basically my plan. So that's what we're going to do. Discovering new prospects is also a top priority for us, I'd say, over technically individual players in a sense, just because obviously we want to have that priority of finding new players as much as possible, because we want to know how much Japanese players, Chinese players there is out there. So we're going to do that. And then Heller is going to be individual prospects. So he's already going to get the start scouting out, and he's doing pitchers, I think I said. Yeah, he's doing pitchers. So we will start with Iwamura for him. And then that means Mr. Seamus Eldridge will be going to whoever is the highest up Asian in terms of the non-pitchers, which I don't remember who there was. Yamazaki, I guess we could scout out here with him. Yeah, we'll do Yamazaki with him because he's also another Asian guy. This is going to be really exciting just to see if we actually find some really good talent in this draft, because like I said, I'm kind of scared because obviously if we have the first overall pick and we have to reach way off the board, it's going to have to happen because we're going to limit ourselves on what we're actually drafting. But let's go a week, and we'll take an update at that point on those guys that were individually scouting. Yes, let's stop symboling. And we did score another run that week, so that's nice. That's only our 4th run of the season. We're just getting completely crapped on. It's going to be funny what our record looks like at the end of the season and all that stuff. So currently, Iowa Murr actually is not looking too bad. He's 69% scouted at the moment. He only has 2 blue future stats, so maybe not the best, but he might be an okay player considering he has Japanese roots maybe. Yamazaki might be more of a project player, but obviously we need to still scout those guys out a little bit longer, so we're going to just keep it on that. We did discover 4 new pitchers apparently during that week, so there's probably still more of them out there, so let's just go another week. Like I said, we're going to do 3 weeks for the discovery on each position, and hopefully that helps us find some new players. Okay, we scored another run that week, but we only have 5 runs scored up to this point, which is kind of hilarious. And now Iowa Murr has been fully scouted, and he's looking decent. If I was going to take somebody early on already, I would say Parker Iwamura is not a bad option. Obviously, he could be a low potential player, but he also could be like a 90 potential, and he also should have a good, decent starting overall, which is also nice. He does only have 1 future blue stat, so it makes me feel like he might be kind of like a low ceiling player, but he's still not bad. So I don't mind Iwamura. We are going to change out him now. Wait, am I on him? Yeah, I am on him. Okay, good. Let's see what else there is for pitchers out there that are of Asian descent. I can't remember who else was out there. I think there was a couple other pitchers especially, but we got to definitely check on them. David Na. Oh, yeah, Na. Let's scout out Na with him. Yamazaki's almost fully scouted. He's not really looking the best. He looks like he could be a good fielding catcher. Yeah. But his hitting and stuff like that, not really the biggest fan of him. I'm already going to take him off our scouting stuff for now, just because I think he's not going to be the best. Like, his overall right now, I feel like is going to be pretty low. Yeah, I feel like he's going to be pretty low. He's 75% scouted anyway, so it's a good little base for him. Let's go back into the infield and see if we can find anybody else that fits our bill. Hopefully we can find somebody else, because I remember there was more on these lists, but I don't remember how much infielders and stuff like that there actually was that we could potentially scout out here. No more catchers. I know there was, I think, a couple like first basemen, if I remember right. Oh yeah, David SEO, and then we also have Russell Yang to scout out. So we'll start off with David SEO, I guess. I'll call him SEO because why not? CO sounds kind of different. Let's go one more week with the discovery on the pitchers. And then we will change it over to, we'll probably change it to infielders already, I think. Yeah, we'll probably change it to infielders already. And then catchers could be like our last priority, because catchers, there's not usually a lot of them in a draft. So now Kreis is going to get changed over to infield, and then we're going to do outfield, then we're going to do catcher. That way we can find some more infielders for this other scout to find out. Na's looking okay so far, but he also might be project. We have to wait another week at least on those guys. We might need to find some better scouts for those type of individual players, but at the moment we're just trying to find as much players as possible that could fit our bill. Auto fix that, that's okay. Another scouting week. Let's see what we got here. We found 3 new prospects in the infield so far. Nice, that's good. Let's see how good these guys are looking. David Na's looking, not the best out of the gate either. Yeah, he's kind of probably a little bit, he could have a decent starting overall, but his like fielding is very not good for a pitcher, but that's okay. But obviously his pitching related stats, not the best, like hits per 9. Like, he's kind of an average player. He's not looking the best out of the gate, but that's okay. David CO or SEO. Yeah, not looking that great either. I feel like this is going to be a very tough first draft for us to actually narrow down who we want to draft. Let's keep those guys on there for one more week just so we can kind of fully scout them out. So let's go another week. See what we can find for some more infielders. Maybe there's some guys that we have not found yet. So, okay, so David Na is going to have an okay starting overall for his age. 54 to 69 is a pretty good wide margin, no. So I feel like he's going to be on the lower end of that. But he is going to have maybe a 72 to an 87 potential, which isn't the best. So he might not be great, but he still might be okay. I don't think he's worth a high up pick, though. And then CO, not looking too good, to be honest. So not a great start for these prospects. We hope that they would be better. Let's see if we could find any other Asian descent guys, because now that our scout has generally found some new people, maybe we'll find some more here. There is Koji Sato to scout out, so we'll scout out him. And then this guy will get changed over to, I guess we'll go back to first base, see if there's anybody here. There's still Russell Yang. Yeah, let's go with Russell Yang, why not? And it's week 6, so we gotta do, yeah, we gotta change our scouts thing in here again. I don't think we're going to find a lot of internationals right now. It seems like we're not finding as much as I was hoping for, but that's okay. It's part of the process of scouting. Hopefully one of these drafts will have some good players in it. Wow, we actually scored 6 runs in a game against Seattle. I don't know how that's possible, but that was like literally doubling the rest of our season's totals. And then we scored 2 against Houston and 3 against Kansas City. So hey, we're starting to score some runs, which is kind of surprising with a team with 1 overall. Koji Sato could be intriguing. Yeah, Koji Sato so far is looking decent. We definitely need to still scout him out longer, but... And then Russell Yang, not looking the greatest either. Damn, don't really like that. Let's change out Russell Yang already. See if we could look in the other positions in the outfield, see if there's any new players. John Cato, I don't remember if he's new or not. He definitely needs to be scouted out. He is 22. But he is looking maybe like he could be a really high overall player out of the draft with high potential or something like that. So, gonna add him there. We're gonna still scout out Sato a little bit longer. And let's advance another week. See if we could find out a little bit more prospects here. Okay, what do we got? 85% scouted on Sato. Sato's looking okay still for the future. I wouldn't say he's the best player in the world, but he could have a really high overall out of the draft, potentially. Yeah, I think he might actually have a solid overall based on like his velocity and his break. But yeah, I don't really know for sure. And then we have John Cato, who is not looking super good right now. He looks like he could be a good like speed kind of guy. Speed with strength, arm strength, so maybe a good outfielder in general. But not really in the hitting department. Yeah, I'm not too sold on John Cato right now, but he still might be okay. Let's change out somebody here and see if we can find any more good players. Let's go to like second base and stuff as well. See if we can find anybody else. Because it would be nice to find ourselves the best player possible that is of Asian descent, but we might have to take some shots in the dark in the draft as well. Doesn't look like any second baseman, unfortunately. Ronald Park, South Korea. Hey, you fit. That's the new guy, too. We have not scouted out at all or never heard of. South Korean, that's good. That is good. We will probably change out Sato, too. I don't know if I want to fully scout every single player. Like, I want to kind of get just a baseline in a sense with these guys. Let me take a look at these closers and see if there's anyone out there. Rich Pugh from New York. He's a white guy anyways, I think. Let's see. Any other names here? Nobody in the closer department. Let's go to relief pitcher. We're going to starters again soon too. Yeah, this is definitely going to be a tough challenge, I think, but I'm here for it. I'm excited to see how this team actually prevails. Obviously, if we don't win a World Series, it's not the end of the world, but it's still far away anyways. Tom Koo. Let's get you scouted out. You're a new guy. You're a relief pitcher only, so it's not like you're going to be necessarily probably that high of an overall, but still are a high potential. But still, it would be nice to get, obviously, a good reliever at some point. We got one more week of scouting the outfield, and then we'll change over to catcher. I feel like this method isn't working the best so far, scouting-wise, but obviously it could if maybe we have better scouts. I don't know exactly. We're 0-60 at this point, which is pretty awesome. Let's change this scouts over to catcher, international-wise. And then, let's see. Hey, Tom Koo is actually looking, maybe he could be good if his scouting progress gets better. It could be decent as a reliever. Ronald Park might be a good contact hitter, which is not a bad thing. Yeah, I think I'm going to keep those guys getting scouted for a little bit longer here, just so we can kind of find out a little bit more about them. We only have a couple more weeks of scouting before we'll have to stop and just take a look at what we've scouted at that point. But yeah, I don't know if the scouting method's really working too well. Ooh. Okay, that really sucks learning about them in that last week. So Tom Koo is going to be maybe a high overall player with a low potential. Yeah, maybe. He could end up being still a good relief pitcher. I don't mind him, but his like fielding stats obviously as a pitcher is not great, but that doesn't really matter too much. But everything's pretty decent. Walks per 9 might be pretty high up in the future, which is nice. Because obviously don't like giving up those free passes as a reliever. I don't mind Tom Koo, but I don't think he's that great. But still, he could be a good late round pick for sure. Ronald Park could be a solid contact kind of guy. Has good vision and discipline too. I don't mind Ronald Park either as kind of like a later round pick. But obviously they're not like the most fantastic players out there. But let's change them out. See if we can find anybody else that could fit our team here. Let's get more starters scouted out because obviously starters are important. We scouted out Null already. Koji Sato we got as well. Some of these guys I might actually have to take a look if they're from an Asian country or not, because you never know. Osuna's definitely not, because that's probably more Mexican or something like that. Trying to look at all these names here. Damn, yeah, don't... Oh, here you go. Walter Jung? Yep, Chinese Tapai. So we could do Walter Jung. There's also Robert Yoshida, but he's 22. I don't really like the overage type of guys, because obviously by the time we're going to be a good team, a lot of these guys will be pretty old. So let's add the 19-year-old and Walter Jung there. And then we will change out Park for another more infielding guy. Let's look at shortstops here, because we have not looked at a shortstop yet. Let's see, is there any Asians out there? Steven On. He looks like he's not going to have that good of a potential already, but there's no guarantees on that. We could scout out On, but I don't know if it'd be worth it, to be honest. What about left fielders and center fielders? Because we've scouted one right fielder, but never a left or center fielder. Let's see. Is there any other Asians out there? This guy's name is Hank Link. What a name. What a name. Thomas Watanabe. He's not looking that great. He might be actually a high overall player with a low potential, but still interesting. Also, I forgot to mention in last episode, this series basically, it's also going to run in the same sense as my Vancouver Rain series, where basically if players underperform, they basically will get a little bit of a downgrade in like potential or overall or whatever. Or actually, you have more potential. And if they do really good, they could get a boost in potential. So basically, if we draft a player that's like a C potential, he could generate up until an A potential player. So just keep that in mind when we're building up this roster. Let's see, any center fielders? Nishi? Yeah, Philip Nishi. Yeah, he doesn't look that great though. But one of these guys we should probably scout just for the hell of it. I wish I could just narrow it down based on where these guys are from. Does it make it a lot easier? Let's just go all prospects and see who's the first Asian it lists. And then we will add them to this thing. Obviously, if it's a pitcher, though, it wouldn't make sense for this guy. So it has to be the first infielder player. Let's see. Trying to make sure we do as good of a job here as possible, because obviously our first draft's kind of important, but obviously it might not be important either. But obviously it would be good to get a good starting base with the roster, and hopefully next episode we're able to draft some of most of them that we want, and then hopefully sign most of them as well, or all of them. And then it will be interesting to see what we end up doing after that, and what the rest of the draft looks like too. Sato's still there. Okay, we've already scouted out him. Man. Yeah, there's a lot of prospects in this pool now. Peter Dow is a white guy. Yamazaki. Oh, we didn't even scout out Takashi yet. He's another catcher. He could be actually really good. So, you know what? We're going to get Hideki, or Hideki? I don't even know. Takashi. Yeah, that's definitely a Japanese name. When I was looking up like the most common Japanese last names, that was one of them. So let's go through this week. And see what we got here. Any information on Takashi? Ooh, okay. Okay. Not maybe the highest potential guy either, but he still might be a useful player for another late round pick. I know a lot of these guys aren't looking the best so far, and it's looking glim in terms of in terms of where we're gonna get, like gloomy. But we're gonna get somebody decent at some point. Even if this first draft is a major crapshoot, we're gonna eventually have a good draft. Let's go another week with these guys getting scouted out. And then the other scout is going to come back in and individually scout some players, because he's going to be back from his due diligence. We're going to go one more week of simulation. There was no more catchers even discovered, so he wasn't really even doing anything. Let's cancel scouting assignment on him, and let's scout individual prospects. So this guy's much better with pitchers, right? Yeah. So let's go to starting pitchers and see if we could find anybody here. We're going to go just through the back of this list here. See if we could find any other Asian pitchers here that he gets scouted out, that we haven't scouted out yet. Robert Yoshida. He is 22. But, we'll leave him for now, but let me just see if there's anybody else. Yoshida might be the only one there. Yeah, it's, I think, there's this guy actually, never mind, Hiro Hayashi. Oh yeah, Hayashi, I remember about him from last episode, I think. So we'll get all those guys scouted out up until the draft, but we are only going to be able to simulate one more week before the actual draft is, so I'm not going to be able to simulate right to the draft, or else then we're going to intervene into the draft accidentally, so I want to wait till next episode to do that. Okay, so our scouting period is almost done pretty much, but this is all we could do for this episode. Let's first take a look at how our team has been doing. We are 0-85 at this point in the season, but still I want to take a look at the meme stats here just because it is pretty hilarious how bad this team is going to be. But you can see we've only scored 58 runs through 85 games. We've allowed 1,433, which is over 1,000 more than the Angels, who are just, well, not just above us, but they're above us in the AL West. That is hilarious. We're averaging as a team a 163 average, a 193 slugging, a 188 on base percentage. A 952 fielding percentage is kind of surprising for a team that's 1 overall, and a 15.57 ERA. God damn. If we go to our pitching rotation, Salinas has a 20.86 ERA. Goddamn. Schilling has an 18.09. Dibberl has a 21.17. St. John a 24.49. And Estes at 20.1. And then our relievers are all over 10 as well, looks like. Goddamn. Yeah, this is going to be a really rough first year based on those stats, and a very rough couple of years in the beginning for sure. Who's our best batter out of curiosity? A 152, 159, 180. 234 from Armani Smith. 3 home runs, 17 RBIs. That's actually really solid. He's brought in 17 of our 54 runs. So, yeah, Armani Smith might be our best player here. Considering everybody else on this team has way lower RBIs, Armani Smith and Charles Cruz have been our best RBI guys. It's kind of funny. There's a couple guys off the bench that have been also good too, like Luis Martinez in terms of RBIs, but batting average-wise, not at all. Yeah, that's interesting to see. That is interesting to see. I'm curious on how much players actually got injured because I have the injuries. All of them have really low durability. Okay, yeah, we have a lot of injuries with the low zero durability. That's kind of funny. Nobody generating any growth from a 1 overall, which kind of sucks. Okay, so now comes the part where we take a look at all the prospects we've scouted out up to this point, and we kind of maybe think about who we want to draft potentially. Ooh! Walter Jung. Walter Jung. He might have a high ceiling as hell if our scouts are accurate, which I don't know if I trust that scout because it is one of our weaker scouts. But Walter Jung might be a 99 potential, but a low overall, but he's only 19. So this guy could be a high up pick for us for sure. Takashi is looking okay maybe, but I don't think he's going to be anything super good. And then we also have Hayashi, who might be decent too, but Walter Jung, better than I expected maybe. That's exciting. Let's view the entire prospect list and go to our scouted ones. I can't go recently scouted. I just have to go top 100. Actually, wait. There's not an all scouted one. I thought there was. I guess not. Let's just go change prospect, and can I go scouted in here? No, I can't. Okay, I guess we'll just go to the top 100 and see who is ranked earliest as possible here. So Parker Iwamura's the highest up one. He did opt out of his doctor's exam. That's not the biggest problem in the world. But yeah, he is actually looking decent too. So if we wanted to take him, we could. But he is from Indiana, but he is probably second generation, like from Japan in a sense. That's my guess. There's also John Cato, who also opted out of his exam apparently. He is 22 though, and looks more like a speed threat, like a good outfielder, but not really a type of guy that's going to bring in any runs and stuff like that. So he's going to be like a below average contact power guy, but very good defensively. What else we got here? Yeah, there's not a lot that are predicted to go super early, so we might have to reach off the board. We do have the 4th overall selection this year, so at least we're not drafting number 1. But we want to definitely make our picks count here. David Nahl would be a solid 2nd round pick, probably. Yeah, David Nahl would probably be a good 2nd round pick. So if we don't end up going with that pitcher with our first pick, David Nahl could be an interesting 2nd one to give us a pitcher prospect. So I don't mind that. And the good thing is he is from Japan too. There's also Koji Sato, who could be a good 2nd rounder as well. He's from Pennsylvania, but once again, he's likely got Japanese background. So, and I think that's probably almost it for the top 100, right? Let's see if there's anybody else here. Also, if you guys see anybody that I should scout out, let me know. That is also of Asian descent. Like, should we scout out Brian Shin? Because we have not scouted him out at all either. Ooh, he could be a very good defensive option with maybe some okay contact. Yeah, I think I might actually change out one of the guys for Brian Shin regardless here. Because I almost forgot about Shin. Let's see. Anybody else here? The good thing is at least there's some players that we're going to be able to draft. Okay, yeah, we have a couple guys on 100%, so we could take out Takayashi, or whatever you want to pronounce his name as. And we will put in the right fielder in Brian Shin to get scouted out. Yes. He'll get scouted out for the final week, so we can find out a little info on him. But, is Walter Jung worth taking super early? I don't think he is. He doesn't look that great on paper, but my scout team seems to think he has really good ceiling. That's interesting. Like, he's not supposed to get drafted, but our scouts have him ranked at 15th. So maybe we could grab him in a later round. I don't know for sure, but that is the scouting pool, our prospect pool, I should say. I don't think there's anything else we need to really check on before we end this episode. But yeah, next episode, we're going to do the draft for sure. And we're probably going to just sign our prospects, take a look at what the rest of the league drafted and stuff like that. But I don't know if this first draft is going to be very influential for our entire team. I think it's going to be a good stepping stone to build up our roster a little bit in terms of maybe the depth in a sense, but obviously we're still hoping for maybe like a generational Japanese guy or something like that down the road, because I think it's going to take us at least 10 plus seasons to start getting maybe a roster on paper in terms of guys making it and all that type of thing, but it's definitely going to be a very big work in progress. So let me know that below, and I'll see you guys next time.